Okay.
Hello everyone from the Novedge team. Welcome to today's webinar, Create 3D PDF Documents from CAD. Learn how to easily incorporate existing 3D models into interactive PDF documents. With Publisher3D PDF, it is easy to import 3D models and then publish industry standard 3D PDF files. Today, you will see how to create illustrations that can be displayed in the PDF to show different orientation of the 3D design, modify materials and create exploded views that animate, and discover many other 3D tools making illustration creation powerful and easy. Today's webinar presenter, Brian Roberts, is responsible for product marketing and business development at QuadriSpace. He has extensive knowledge of 3D PDF technology and expertise with the QuadriSpace Publisher3D PDF software. And let me tell you a little bit about Novedge. Novedge is one of the largest online stores for design software. We offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's needs. This is the page of our webinar registration, but you can see to the left there's a product, and you can click on it and get Publisher 3D PDF, or always call us and have a chat with us about, if you have any doubt on the software, on your needs. We're always listening. For more daily software news, you can also follow the Novedge blog or add us on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter. Coming up next week, Twinmotion 2018 version 2 live. And last but not least, today's webinar is free and is being recorded. So if you want to rewatch it, you can check it out as early as this afternoon on our YouTube and Vimeo channels. And now I'm going to share Brian's screen, and he can take the presentation from here. Thank you very much, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Let's see here. Let me show my screen and go from here. Okay. Okay, so what I will do is I have a short presentation here just to kind of lay the background of the Publisher3D PDF product, and then we'll move rapidly into a demo where we'll create a couple different PDFs. We'll also publish those as HTML5 and show how you can just do a printout from those as well. So we'll cross the gamut of that. So about Publisher3D PDF, it's basically a software, an entry-level software that allows you to take 3D CAD files from a variety of sources and then turn those into 3D PDFs. And it's not just, the model being into the PDF. It handles a nice template for you with text and images and all that kind of thing too. And we'll show you how you can first set up the 3D for going to PDF, and then second, set up your template and customize that for the PDF as well. Now, you may be wondering, what sources of information for 3D data you can start from. We have support in various ways for SolidEdge, SolidWorks, Inventor, Rhino, SketchUp, DWF, IGES, a variety of other formats as well. And we also have an add-on if you're coming from a background of Pro-E or Creo that we can talk about. So once you bring in your CAD, either using direct import or some of these have exporters which provide additional information. So it's an exporter that, for example, adds into SolidEdge. That's what we're going to show today, is that, and it'll export out the SolidEdge data in addition to things like the metadata and some other things that are in your 3D CAD. So what you use the software for then is to rapidly capture your 3D views, and then in the PDF you can recall them in a variety of ways, one being bookmarks, and then publish that information through some templates. I'll get into the rest of this a little more. I'm going to move on, but you'll see through the demo how we can do some of the things like customizing, looking at using buttons and clickable lists, and then the rest of those there. I guess I should mention the bottom one there is that when you do go to the Adobe Reader into a PDF format, from our software, there's no need to have plugins. I know a lot of other people require you to have some proprietary plugin that goes in with Adobe Reader. We don't. We use the native 3D features that are available within the Adobe platform. So as a software, our goal for people is to help them get from 3D to, we work towards print, PDF, and HTML5. And we've really focused on these three because they're very easily sent to somebody that has no knowledge of what you're doing. You can always send a paper to somebody. PDF is all over. It's installed on all the computers, so you don't have to worry about someone being able to view it or not. And then HTML5 output, we use a standard. We just use regular old HTML5, JavaScript, WebGL. All of these things are supported on the modern browsers. And again, no plugins. So you can get that to people without worry. For the 3D PDF output, it's a little blurry here, but here's what you can expect is to open your 3D up inside of the Adobe Reader, and you'll be able to interactively work with it, the 3D, rotate it, pan it, zoom it. You'll be able to click on bookmarks that you're going to create, and I'll show you how in just a second. You'll be able to select objects. You can go to a model tree where we'll have your hierarchy of your 3D CAD model there. Depending on the template you use, you might have buttons on the page that the person that's in PDF can click on. All of these things are set up for you, so there's not a lot of work that you have to do. You just pick a template and then customize it with colors, text, and images. I'm going to just skip through this and do these through the demo. I mean, in basic, there's very easy tools for working with 3D and for creating your 3D and your customized template. These are just some of the highlights of those. And then when you get to the Adobe side of things, it's standard things. You have the interactive 3D and bookmarks, model tree, and no plugins are required. I believe that's my last slide. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let's see, get this out of the way and jump over here to an example and show you what we're going to create. So this is in Adobe Acrobat, but it's the same in Adobe PDF or in Adobe Reader. So somebody that receives a PDF that you've created in Publisher3D PDF we'll have this type of behavior. So this is what we're going to create today. You'll see we've added some logos and images over here that are custom to this document. We have a 3D scene in the middle of our page here based on a CAD model that we brought in this case from SolidEdge. We've customized the text down here, and we'll show you how to do all of these things, title. And for this simple one, we basically have some bookmarks here, and the recipient can go through and click the bookmarks so they can see what the utility blade one is, snow removal, using that blade, sturdy attach design. This is more of a marketing document that was created for the PDF here. And modern hydraulic power. So I think our first demo is going to be how do we create this, and then we'll do one more demo that will include an exploded view and a little more advanced template setup, and we'll do both of those in the next 30 minutes or so. Shouldn't take any longer than that. Okay, so let me close out what we're looking at, Adobe Reader here, and let's open up this utility blade file. Now this is a QSM. I'm going to skip the step of going from SolidEdge. Basically, there's a SolidEdge add-in that we used here. You open your CAD file up in SolidEdge and you click one button that says export to QSM, and then you result in this, which has your SolidEdge information ready to go. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to skip that, and we'll open this up and start working from here. So I just double-clicked the QSM file, and it's going to bring it up into the PDF edition of Publisher3D. And so what we're looking at here is the user interface. In the PDF edition, you'll always have a model panel over here, and a storyboard panel down here, and then 3 ribbons. The whole goal in life is to populate this storyboard panel with illustrations. So if you think back to the PDF that we showed, all it's doing is flipping through the bookmarks or link to these illustrations, and it allows the user on the PDF side to click through and easily find those. The model tree here gives you a nice, easy view that matches your CAD tool. So it allows you to do things like click, hide, show, select, things that you want to do for setting up the 3D view that you're going to capture as an illustration down here. There's 3 ribbons. First one's called Illustrate, and that's where you make new illustrations. We can use our render style to change it to different looks. So you could have a hidden line remove style, a shaded, which is the default there, or shaded with edges. We use this one all the time. You can change your background color. I personally like a white background. Your highlight, so if you see I click on something and selected it, highlight is just a color for the selection, how it will show up when it's selected. And then edges, you can change the edge color. I'm pretty keen on sticking with the black on that. So then there's also the ability to create an exploded view. You can do that by clicking on Move Parts and moving the parts in different arrangements however you'd like. I'm going to come back to that in the second document that we're going to create. Second tab is Materials. This is where you can edit out your materials and change those from engineering to, in this case, like a marketing. For example, for a common, tractor supplier, they use a lot of green. So their engineering may look like this with the orange just because the engineers set it up that way. But if you're sending that out to somebody, you may want to change that into a green. One way to do that is from our stock library here, we can pick different paint types, and then we can pick the green here. And you can just apply this by selecting the objects and clicking on all of those. Another that might be easier in this case is to actually change this material. Instead of, there's a lot of different parts here. So if I wanted to go click on all these, I'm gonna probably have to click on 25, 30 parts here to do so. So it actually might be easier to pick the material that's orange here. And now that we have that, we can just go change the color for that. So we can go change it to the dark green. Looks like we want to do the same for whatever this material is, slightly different. So there. So that was an easy way to get it all into the green color that we're looking for outside of engineering. Okay, so that's what you can do with the materials. I should mention, there's quite a few different stock materials, from plastics to paints to woods, tiles, whatever you're wanting to work with. This will help you get, one step away from engineering colors. Let's see. And when you're done working with a tool, you'll see that over here we have this checkbox, which means we're still in this mode for picking a material or working with some tool here. So we're just going to close that out so we're not working with that anymore. Before I move to the Publish ribbon, I want to spend 1 second here talking about using the mouse. So it's really pretty straightforward. If I go back to my Illustrator ribbon, you'll see we have a viewpoint here too. So you can use the left mouse button to rotate, right mouse will zoom in and out, and the middle mouse will pan around on your view. And then you can set up from there however you want. There's also a right-click menu that allows you to change the mouse mode, pick different viewpoints, or some things like Show All, which will bring all the objects back. I can also hold down Shift, and I could quickly go and use Shift-click to hide different points before I create my illustration or something. So, and we'll use that when we're creating our illustrations here in a second, something like that. And then you can always just do back to Show All, bring everything back that you're working with there. The viewpoint panel here not only jumps you back to a home orientation. This one's a little to the side, so I wouldn't use that generally, but maybe a front. And then this is where another place you can use arrow keys. I could use the greater than and less than sign to rotate, and I can use the arrow keys to rotate in other ways. So you can use that to get to any orientation that you want, kind of like that or something, for creating your illustrations. So let's go ahead, since the goal of the software is to create illustrations, let's go ahead and create a number of those illustrations like the ones we saw in the document to begin with. And let's start by, I will just capture this one right here, and we'll say new. And you'll see that it creates an illustration and adds it to our storyboard. So we have one illustration in our storyboard now. And let's go and give it a name. This name right here is what you saw displayed when we opened up the bookmark. So this is your bookmark name. It also has other uses too, like, and we'll show in the second example, this name can be displayed on your PDF page and change as you go through different illustrations. Excuse me. So let's just call this one Utility Blade. Whoops. Let's try again. Utility. Is this, I think I'm getting some weird capture here from the video capture potentially. Not sure why I was doing this. I think the video capture is doing that somehow. Because that doesn't make any sense otherwise. All right, well, I'm just going to leave it at the name that it's at, and we'll come back and see if that'll do something else later. Okay, so for our second illustration, we just wanted an image that has this piece highlighted. So we'll click that, and we'll do a new there. Let's see if I can possibly change the name this time. Now it's doing the same thing. Wasn't doing that right before we did this. Okay. Got it. Okay, so snow removal for the blade there. Let's do another one on the back over here. I think this one was going to be the attached design, and in this case, we were just highlighting these bolts. You can select by just clicking on something, and then you can control select to add multiple parts to that click set. So if you want to select multiple things, just hold down control after you select the first one. And then in this case, we'll take our next illustration. Third one shows up here. Let's see if that is crazy. All right, I'm just going to have to ignore the names here. Okay, so we have our second one here that has these selected, or third one that is. We're now going to highlight this one, and we're just going to, using the tree here to find that, and then up here I can take the whole thing, and then we're just going to isolate that. And take our fourth illustration here, and we'll hit new. And then that one I was going to name patented tractor mount, but we'll skip the naming. And then the final one is we wanted to show people the hydraulics and point that one out. So we'll do a show all from here, and then get a little wider view. Move that into position, and then I'm just going to highlight, the hydraulic systems here for them. And I'll take our final illustration. So that's pretty much the basics of how you set up, the 3D side of what you're working with. So now we've created our 5 illustrations, and that's going to provide content so that when we go and publish that to PDF, you'll be able to step through those and view those using the bookmarks or buttons or lists or something on your document page. Excuse me. So now let's go over to the publish, and we'll look at the second aspect of creating these documents. So if I go to publish here, you'll see that we'll have a number of different templates that we can choose from. We can kind of just look through a number of these here, and we'll come back to that. But as you can see, they're pretty non-customized at this point. It has title, type the notes here, subtitle. There's buttons and everything, and there's places to insert images. But they're pretty vanilla, if you will, at this point. There's some here for mobile, You can pull that up on a mobile. It's made with a small user interface around it. There's portrait ones such as this. If you're wanting to send it in or attach it into you know, a document, some people will take and put one-page interactive elements. They'll use Acrobat to include that into a large manual that they're already doing, that they're using InDesign or something like that for. They can make an interactive 3D one for that. I think we're going to go and work with this template today. I think that's the one, pretty sure that's the one we published. So the templates are pretty easy. You can just click on these different images. I can click here and change this image out, have a logo ready to go and some images. So I'll just insert those into my document here. So that's how we set that up. If we want to change the coloring, get closer to our corporate colors here, I can select a different theme. I know ahead of time that, let's see, Granny Smith is probably a good one for us. This Japanese garden might work with a darker green, just to be a little different there. So yeah, so that now we've set up, you know, some of the graphics on our page. To change out the title, we can just click here and highlight it, and we can just change it to utility. If it lets me, the typing has got an issue here. Something's got my focus from me or something. Anyway, when the video is not being captured, you should be able to change out the utility, the titles. I think, see that flashing? I think that's the video capture going on or something. So, well, anyway, I'm gonna have to skip that. The titles you can change out by just clicking on those and going with that, and then you're pretty much ready to publish. I don't think, yeah, I think that is pretty much it. And then you would be ready to publish. And to do that, we pick what we're publishing, which is, in this case, we got PDF selected already. Then we can go over to, you know, publish now. And then you just pick where you want to publish it to. You can browse to that. I'm just going to publish it right here into this directory. There's some things here you can do: password protect, bring up the preview as soon as you publish it, some other font-based things there. If you want to publish one without interactivity, you can do so. Generally, that's not done with this software. This one's pretty much designed for making interactive 3D PDFs, so that's what you would generally do here, is leave that on. And then there's some options for how to do different things: activate the 3D views automatically, display the model tree, just how PDF comes up in a standard state. You can change some of those here. And then once you do that, you just hit create PDF. And that'll generate the PDF from our view here. One thing I didn't do is, you'll see that the default view here stays exactly, we're now in PDF. This is Acrobat Pro, and it's the one we just created. And you'll see how our 3D view stayed as it did in the storyboard. And I can click on the 3D view, and now I have interactive control of that. I have the whole page layout and everything that I wanted. And if I go down and look here, we have our bookmarks. We weren't able to name those because of that movie getting in the way. But these are the names that you have for each of those illustrations there. One thing I didn't show before, I guess you can click these like we did before to bring back the views we set up. One thing I didn't show before was that you do have the 3D panel here, which has a representation of your model, you know, with the model tree that you might expect when you're working with 3D all the time. So, so that's basically how you set up the most simplest of documents using the 3D PDF software. For the second example, what I wanted to do was kind of add on to that. I'm going to start from scratch again, but I want to add on to that knowledge a little bit with just a couple more features so that you have a little more depth on the things you can work with the software. Before I do that though, let's go back and let's actually show how you would publish an HTML document. It's pretty much the same way. We've already put in our text, stuff like that. If I go over to HTML, you'll see that this has the same set of templates, but you might want to pick a different template here. So this now is in HTML mode, and if I publish this, we're going to publish this up to a Share3D cloud that you can make an account and publish to yourself. There's a number of them that you can publish up for free. But let's say we wanted to look at some different templates. Some of these HD templates work a lot better on web with the widescreen view and everything. So something like that might be a good option for us to publish to the web. And if you notice here, we still have our logo. It just moved over into a different position defined by this template. Still have our photos and everything here. This is the file name right down here. And this one's a little different, that it has buttons set up to step through. So if I start with the storyboard down here, these buttons step through that storyboard. This one goes to the last, that one goes to the beginning, and then these will just animate between the different views here. So there wasn't a movement there since we just selected it, but you can see as I click through these, it's just animating through this storyboard one step at a time until it gets to the final one. And you can always go back to the first or last one from there. So let's say that we wanted to publish this to the web. I can hit publish now, and there's an option to publish to share3d.com for the viewing collaboration. So we're just going to hit OK on that one. And I'm already logged into my account up there. So it will connect to that. And if it doesn't take too long, I don't think it will, but if it doesn't, then we'll just go ahead and publish, and yeah, we'll just hit OK and let that publish up. And right now it's creating the content and uploading it. And then once it gets to the server, which we have a Share3D account here, we'll refresh it and see what we get here. These two here were some that I made coming in preparing for it here today. So if it doesn't show up pretty quick, I'll just bring this one up to show how it works on the web. The other option while we're waiting, I guess, is to let's jump over that real quick, is to just do a print. Obviously, if you print, you might want to go to a template such as this. And you could print this just by going to the file, the application menu here, and doing a print, and that'll just go out to your printer. Obviously, you can't really make use of multiple illustrations. If you're doing this, it'll just print what you see on the page here to your print. But it does give you a way to quickly bring in your 3D model, set up a template around it, and a look and feel around it, and then print that out or from there. So let's go back and see now if our published document has shown up. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's the one we just created. I'm going to click on this, and it will bring it up. And this is now out there on share3d.com into my share3d.com account. And from here, it brings this up, and you'll see I have my 3D online. This is, again, not using any plugins or anything. This is HTML5, WebGL only. This is just using the Firefox browser natively. And then we can go and step through the illustrations that we made. Behaves just like the preview. Any of these are still interactive at any time. Okay, so that's how you can get to HTML. It has a very simple user interface, flipping through different pages, zooming in and out, depending on your browser and everything here, and then viewing the actual document that you've created. Okay, now let's work on our second document here. It's still going to have kind of the John Doe theme here, but let's just go ahead and, if I can, get rid of the web interface. There we go. Close this one out. Let's save changes. Okay, and then we're going to open up a slightly different model here. Novedge, we had this plow attachment. And this one's in pretty good shape for doing an exploded view, and that's kind of what I wanted to show at this point. Okay, so we have this model. Let's jump out of that, and let's quickly kind of go through some of the steps we just did before just to get it set up. Let's go to our shaded with edges draw style, white background, red highlights, just to get that back in order. And then let's change out our material again. I think the quickest way is, again, to pick this material and then just adjust the color. And then let's pick that material and let's adjust that color to yellow. That's not a very nice yellow. No, that ought to work. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go back to our Illustrate one and let's do a little bit of focusing on, let's close that out, on how you can do exploded views here. So exploded views in the Publisher PDF product allow you to, say about 10 minutes, allow you to create a single exploded view, and you can choose to display the closed state or the open state. So it's really simple. We're just going to use the Move Parts button here to start moving the parts for our exploded view, and then we can choose to show the closed or the open state. So first thing we're going to do is move the parts, and we just start clicking them. We'll click one, and then if I want to move multiple, I could move this guy, but if I want to move multiple, I can control click, all these bolts, including these, and then I can shift click to move while I'm in this state, then continue to control click to get all 4 of these before we move. And then the way to move the objects now is to pull on a handle is probably the most useful way. You can, you just grab and drag it around, but that'll do it in screen, parallel to the screen, which usually isn't what you want to do. So grab a handle, pull those out, click on that one to create the second movement, control click that and pull that out. And then on the back side, let's go grab these bolts, pull them this way, click, and then control click, control click, control click. You can control click in the tree over here too if you need to, if you know the exact part numbers. I could probably guess it's those 50s, but if you accidentally click one like I just did there, just click it and it'll toggle it back off. And then grab those 4. Again, you can shift to go back to rotating without going in and out of this mode all the time. Pull those out. That's one thing we want to do. And then down here, we want to grab these, click that, and that. And then we're going to click that and that. This whole thing will slide off now. And then these 2. Okay, so that's pretty much all the exploding we're going to do here. And then I'm going to hit this checkbox to say I'm done doing exploding. And you'll see now, this is the exploded view we just created. And I can choose between these 2 states. There's just a close and an open. But there's a number of things you can do with just that simple arrangement. For example, what we wanted to do on this one is to create a few illustrations to publish to our PDF, one being the parts diagram, which is this. Let's just go ahead and pick isometric. And that's a good view right there. So we're just going to hit new. I would label it, but it's not letting me. And then we're going to take that one. And then we're going to show a couple steps here, like a step 1 and a step 2. So let's say our step 1 is to put this sliding stuff together that we had here. So what you might want to do for that scene is hide all this other stuff. So I'm just going to hold down Shift and hide all these things that are kind of our step 2, which is putting that together. Oops, yeah, I think you can undo that. And just show all. Try again. Turn all those off. Go around back and get these off too. Again, I'm just holding down Shift to hide. Okay, so on that one, and then I want to select these parts because this is we're going to do a click that, because these are the parts that this is our step 1 basically. And do an ISO, and then let's just zoom in on that. Okay, so now we've set up a scene here that would be our step 1. We'll grab another illustration for that. Let's go back to our ISO, zoom back out, and then let's show all. And then we just want to select like this, one of these, Control. And this is actually our step 2. We'll zoom in on that, get these selected also. Dang it, I missed. If I click on the white, then it deselects everything. That's what just happened. So I need to be a little more careful. Okay, so we have that, and then it's our next one. And then let's now let's just do a home, and then our last scene will be, you know, everything assembled and ready. Let's put back a home again. And we'll hit new for that one. And so now we have, here's our parts diagram. Step 1 is doing this. Step 2 is doing this. And then here's what our final result is going to be. So we've set up our storyboard. We've done the 3D work that we want to do on this one. And again, the second step of doing one of these documents is to go to publish. And in this case, let's pick a different template. I think, you know, if we wanted to go down here and pick something that has a little more to it, maybe this one. Okay, yeah, that'll work. What I want to show, and hopefully it'll let me type something, is these are also displayed. So if I click here, some of the templates allow you to display text on your document page. So if I click here and it shows me the name of the illustration, you can also type in a description field here too. So let's see if it lets me. Yeah, it is now. Description. Okay, so if you notice now that shows up into this field here. So maybe can I change this one? Parts. Okay, diagram. That every once in a while it kind of tries to capture the view or something and kind of gets in the way. Okay, so that one, and then really you just go through all of these. This one you might call step 1, and then give it a description, like assemble these components. This one might be step 2. Assemble this bracket, and so on. I guess I might as well do the last one. Assembled, and then finished here, I guess. Okay, and so you'll notice that as you click the different illustrations, our text shows up on the document page. And that's how the template would work too. It has, if I start on the first one here, it has these buttons that will actually animate to the different areas of the scene, bring in the parts that are shown, and then do that. So the last one will animate everything back together here because it's going from the closed, from the open to the closed state of the assembly. And again, this is where you would go through and customize your template. I don't want to just rehash this. You would go through and do what we did before, putting in images and logos that you might want to change out, changing themes, changing colors, and then again, going through the same process. Right now we're set for HTML. And if we hit publish, we would publish that up to the share3d.com site. And if we wanted a PDF, same thing, we would go back to our PDF publisher to do that and to publish that up. So I think that is pretty much what let me look real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's what I wanted to get through. Yeah. As far as how to use this simple entry-level product for bringing your 3D in and very easily, getting it out to a ubiquitous 3D PDF or HTML5 without much troubles there. I guess at this point, as far as demo goes, I'm done. If there's any questions, let's see, I'll pull this up and see if I can answer anything here. I'll be happy to answer those.
Yeah, ask away, guys or girls online here. I love the templates and the animation. That's wonderful. I can't believe there's no plugins required. That seems pretty handy. Thank you, Brian. And while we wait for questions, yeah, we'll hang out a few more minutes. So don't be shy. Ask away. And I guess
while we're waiting on that, I do notice one thing I didn't mention. This was new in our 2017 release. Was the ability to have styles. So if you don't like the text styles that are set up, there's a number of different ones you can choose from to adjust the way the fonts look and everything on your page here.
Cool. There's one question. Can you show the pan and zoom?
Show the pan and zoom. What do you mean show that?
Dan, the ball is back at you. Let us, okay, move the model.
Oh, move the model, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess then how to move that, if I go back over here, we're in pan mode right now, actually. Generally, it starts out in this advanced mode. And if you're in that mode, your left mouse rotates, the middle mouse pans, and this is consistent with PDF, I believe, and the right mouse zooms in and out. If you want it more moded, you can click of anything up in the viewpoint panel here, and I can go to pan mode, and that'll just set whatever my left mouse does, so that goes and pans it. If I go to zoom now, the left mouse is doing the zoom. There's some other ways to zoom to area, zoom to fit, things like that. And then if I go to select, my left mouse is selecting. And again, there's some various options here, select assembly, or use the left mouse to hide or hide a whole assemblies, sub-assemblies. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, completely. And how large are these files after created for mail purposes, for instance?
Yeah, it's a lightweight version of the CAD file. So, one of the metrics we kind of had looked at before was that solid edge, and they're usually, or solid works, like if you combine the assemblies and parts of a model, we're usually like, 1 to 5% the size of all that. So maybe a little bigger when it goes to PDF versus our native format. So.
All right. And Richard is asking, can I add letter or number call outs to the exploded items?
This is the PDF edition of the software, and there is a Pro edition, and it's a different price range and everything. But you can in that one, but not in this one. This one doesn't have the markup features that you're asking about.
Okay, good to know. And that was it for questions, unless you guys have other. We wait a few more seconds, and otherwise, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the screen back while I wait. Okay, and looks like all the questions have been answered. So I would like to thank everybody who joined us today, and I want to remind everyone to visit our page at novedge.com, where you can find the Publisher3D PDF. And thank you so much, Brian. That was really enlightening. And okay, so there's another question coming up. So how much is this version? You can see the price right on the page I'm showing, but you can always call us for better quotes. Let's put it this way. And I want to remind everyone that our next webinar will be on Twinmotion 2018, the new version 2. And to rewatch today's webinar or previous ones, check out our Novedge YouTube and Vimeo channels, our webinar playlists as webinars for every software taste. Thanks again for joining us today, Brian, and thanks everybody for spending the past hour with us. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.